Welcome to Was It Something I Said? The panel show that's all about everything anyone's ever said ever, so long as they're famous. As Churchill stated in 1942, this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. This, in contrast, is not even the end of the beginning, but it is perhaps the middle of the beginning of the beginning. I tell a lie, that was the end of the beginning. On Richard Aywadi's team is old dog comedian Jason Manford, and on Mickey Flanagan's team is new trick, but not in the prosy sense, other comedian Ramesh Ranganathan. And here to read our quotations is a writer and presenter who's been quoted as saying her blonde-haired husband isn't really her type, adding, "I always liked these broody, sulky, tortured men in the corner." So for a while, Abu Qatada was in the frame. Please welcome journalist and broadcaster Mariella Frostrup. So, Mariella, this is a show about quotations. Do you have any favourites?
Yeah, I quite like the opening line of Herzog by Saul Bellow. If I'm out of my mind, it's all right with me.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, I find it makes sense, don't you?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, well, I think many people who are out of their mind probably wish they weren't. Maybe the definition of sanity is being mad in a way you don't mind.
I think the definition of sanity is to embrace your insanity, which is why I particularly like that opening line.
Yeah.
But you're Norwegian, aren't you?
Yeah, half.
Ah, I'm half Norwegian.
Are you?
Yeah.
Which half?
Top half. OK, maybe we can transform.
Or amalgamate.
Yeah. Gosh, that's very forward, but...
I'm a modern woman.
Yeah. Amalgamate is a very polite word.
Or do you mind if we slip off now, David?
And go off and, you know...
Create a full Norwegian.
Amalgamate.
Wow. It's got very frank, very credible.
Anyway, our first round is called threesomes, and I can guarantee... Jason is not coming.
Jason is not welcome.
One Norwegian and a third of a monk.
Our first round is called threesomes, and I can guarantee that it's going to be as exciting as a sexual threesome. That's if you're really into a quiz about quotations, and you can pretty much take or leave sex these days. I'm going to give both teams a quotation, and they have to work out which of three well-known figures said it. Now, one old-fashioned way that television gets to hear from the viewing public is via the phone-in. But let's face it, Twitter is far better, especially as no one this end has to answer the phone. So if you want to play along, get on Twitter and follow @SomethingISaid. Now, this week's theme for threesomes is hotels. And can we have the first quotation, please, Mariella?
You can. I used to collect all these animals. We used to have to smuggle them into the rooms. We put pythons and anacondas in sacks under our beds.
In a moment, I'll give you three famous faces to choose from, but before that, what do you make of this quotation?
Is it Noah?
Rather reduces the flood to just a localised flood in their flat, so they have to move briefly into a hotel.
And also, sometimes before you go on a long trip, you do want to stay in a hotel near the ferry, you know, like a holiday.
Well, I think I should narrow down your options. Was it rock star Alice Cooper, Justin Bieber, who I believe is some kind of singer, or David Attenborough?
Thinking not Bieber, because why would he doesn't need snakes and anacondas, does he? He needs a watch more than anything.
Yeah.
How many hours late was he for that gig at Wembley?
3, I think.
Yeah.
3 hours, yeah.
You know,
I was going crazy.
I
don't think it's Attenborough, because like if Attenborough come in the hotel and he had a load of animals with him, you'd just go, he probably knows what he's doing.
Why would he be smuggling them around anyway, David Attenborough? Why would he just goes to see them?
Yeah.
We should stop moving them around. Think, oh,
it's all done on a big studio set in Bristol.
Yes.
Yeah, they have to build all the trees. They're just built out of fiberglass.
He was caught out about a certain animal.
Yeah, but they said that he'd had polar bears on there, and what they'd actually found out was he just got regular bears and spray painted them.
And they were saying, they went, oh, this tiger's really angry. storming into the room, but actually it was storming out of the room at the time.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I met Alice Cooper.
Did you?
He's not as upset with his name as you would think. But, after the show, he said, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to have a full-fat Coke.
Oh, right.
That's how rock and roll he is.
I didn't realise there was so much fat in drugs. I thought it was one of the plus things that you might lose weight.
I'll have the full-fat, Charlie,
I'm going to have some really buttery heroin. But nevertheless, we have to answer this question.
Yes.
So, who used to collect animals and smuggle them under their hotel bed? Was it Alice Cooper, Justin Bieber, or David Attenborough?
I think should we go for Alice?
I reckon Alice.
You reckon Alice? And what do you reckon?
I mean, let's not be bullied into making a poor choice. I mean,
Quite.
we're bigger than that.
You might be. I'm going to go David Attenborough.
I think all these animals is not a phrase that...
Yeah, it does sound a little bit vague.
I don't think David
You know, the
Attenborough
snaky
and
things.
here we are in front of all these fucking animals in their natural kind of habitat, sort of fucking around. Run, flappy birdie.
OK, well, let's go with your choice then.
OK.
All right,
Alice
our
Cooper,
choice.
and if it's
our
right-
choice. We're going Alice
Thank you.
Cooper.
Both teams going Alice Cooper. Well, the answer is David Attenborough.
His idiom has absolutely let me down, and not for the first time.
But yes, Attenborough spent the earlier part of his career travelling the world collecting animals for London Zoo, about which he subsequently expressed regret, saying, I used to go along, chase a giant anteater and pull it by the tail so we could film it. I'm sorry about that sort of thing, but those were different days. You know.
That's what all those DJs say now, isn't it?
Absolutely. Attenborough's snakes went under the hotel bed, as he said, but what did he say went in the bath?
Piss.
There would be no need to piss in the bath, not unless you were keeping a tortoise in the loo. He said he put armadillos in the bath. Genuinely, it seems like early on in his career, David Attenborough went around bagging animals. Just he went to abroad, found an animal, grabbed it, shoved it in a bag.
I think it's called poaching.
Yeah, I don't know whether he cooked them or not, to be honest, but he's stealing them and then going on and making programmes about how there aren't any animals left in the wild. Well, it's not very surprising.
Can you steal an armadillo? Who would possess it?
He's stolen them from us all, like people who pick flowers from a roundabout.
I've never seen any flowers on a roundabout because it's in the north. It's just surrounded by Happy Birthday Sandra signs on the side of bed sheets.
Happy 24th, Grandma.
Alice Cooper, who you all went for, is obviously a great fan of snakes, keeps a lot of snakes. What was Alice's preferred method of trashing hotel rooms?
It's a strongly worded letter.
I think the stapler. He would slowly go round the whole room stapling things to every object he could find.
No, he was just a good old-fashioned throwing the TV out the window job. In fact,
And do you know what? I respect that because now that's a piece of piss. But back then, I mean,
yeah, it's just a frisbee now, really.
Yeah, that's why they only let you open the windows that much, because you can just slot it through.
He used to throw TVs out the window, and he said, I once threw out my own TV. I thought I was in a hotel room. Mariella, can we have our next quotation on the subject of hotels, please?
Absolutely. I've picked up all sorts of things in hotels. Fleas, lice, tapeworm.
is this Lenny Henry?
No, it is one of David Attenborough, Justin Bieber and Alice Cooper once again.
I don't think it's David Attenborough. It's not the sort of thing you would say on Parkinson, is it?
You can hardly complain about finding fleas and lice when he's been leaving snakes and armadillos there.
The urban legend about tapeworms is horrendous, isn't it? The one where, to get rid of it...
Oh, don't.
You pull your pants down and then you just crouch over some food and it just crawls out. Oh, I fancy that now, and just crawls out and has a bit of food.
I saw a bloke doing that in Greg's the other day.
It's weird because it's sort of said in a way that, you know, like comedians, you know, we often like do things in three, don't we? So like we go 2 normal things and the last one's a joke. They're just 3 normal things, like, but it sounds like fleas, lice, tapeworm. You got, I know they're all the same. There's no joke there.
That's like
It
one
should
of
be a
my
joke.
jokes. That's the
It's a
way.
sentence.
Yeah, the way I like to tell a joke is for there to be no surprises within it.
Or meanings.
Or humour. Because I think that's quite trad. You know, actually trying to say something amusing within the joke.
Weird.
It's actually kind of pathetic and a bit needy.
I'm regretting those tickets for your arena tour.
Yeah. You know, you say that, and yet its very emptiness is its success. Because in order to fully succeed in this endeavour, and believe me, I am succeeding, no one must come.
So, Jason and Richard, who are you leaning towards?
I think it might be David Attenborough.
I think it's Alice Cooper this time.
Oh.
This is getting pretty awkward.
You say tomato.
You also say tomato.
Well, at least you can agree on something.
Yes.
I'm going to go Attenborough.
They're saying Attenborough.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Bieber because
There's no way he's staying in a hotel where you can get fleas.
I
He
think
wouldn't.
I
Yeah,
think
I think it's.
should we go for
Let's go
we think it's
Attenborough.
Attenborough because you know it's the sort of thing that would happen to him in some far-flung hotel.
Yeah.
OK, well, the answer is David Attenborough. Just his bad luck to catch all those off one hooker. So, at the end of the round, the teams are tied. Over the break, see if you can complete this quotation from famous Playboy Hugh Hefner. My best pickup line is what? Tweet your answer to @somethingIsaid and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Was It Something I Said? Before the break, we asked you to complete this quotation from Hugh Hefner. My best pickup line is what?
You're under contract to me.
Would you like to touch my rabbit?
We're playing the game then.
This is only going to happen once, I assure you.
Yeah.
And only then, because I've taken the right tablets.
Do you want to be in Playboy? Because I know a Playboy who wants to be in you.
Hugh Hefner documents his entire life. He has a documentary crew filming everything he does. He's a very odd man, very odd. And in the 70s, all the bunny girls had to sleep in a dormitory in another sort of wing of his mansion. And they all had to have these awful kind of orgies with him. And then as he reached whatever coughing, spluttering, disgusting, choking gnash of his wiener, they all had to clap and go, come on, Hef, just before.
Wow.
Oh,
There's no jokes to this.
No,
I'm literally just trying to list how big of a fucker he is. I think I know the answer to this.
You think you know the answer?
I think it is. My best pickup line is, I am Hugh Hefner.
Mariella, can we have the full quotation, please?
My best pickup line is, my name is Hugh Hefner.
Well done.
You definitely get the point there. What does Hefner's third wife, Crystal, say about Hef's naked body?
Fucking hell.
She might, if she'd seen it. She says, he doesn't really take off his clothes. I've never seen Hef naked.
Oh.
It's a sight too terrible for human eyes. Now, the next round is called Keywords. I'm going to give our panellists keywords from a well-known quotation, which they should know, and they have to try and work out the whole thing. So, for example, if we gave you the keywords not, tonight and Josephine, you'd know immediately that we'd picked too short a quotation for this round. This is from a famous quotation by Neil Armstrong that you should all be familiar with. I'll award points to whichever team is closest to the exact wording. As your first clue, Mariella, can we have 2 keywords, please?
Why, yes, sir. Small and giant.
You're probably thinking, I know this one, but I want the bit after the bit you think you know, as well as the bit you think you know.
What, can I come home now?
But the people get this quote wrong, don't they, quite a lot? Because he actually said, one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. But everybody quotes it as one small step for man, because that's a better quote.
Do you think it's better, one small step
For man. Do you not think it's better?
No, I think it's better, a man.
Well, that's what he said he said.
I know, well, he's right to say he said that, because that would have been
But
better
did he say
if
it?
he'd said that. I don't know. I'm not saying whether or not he said that. What I'm saying is, one small step for a man,
It does,
one
it's
giant
grammatically
leap for
correct,
mankind. That means something. There's a distinction between a man and mankind, whereas one small step for man, man in that sense just means mankind.
You're right.
That's just, he's just contradicting himself. One small step for man, one giant leap for man. Well, which the fuck is it?
Maybe you just I'm gonna be late for my next class. Can I go?
Where is Neil Armstrong in this photo?
Just there.
That's... I know. In the car.
Is it him in the reflection on that visor?
That's right, yeah. The man there is actually Buzz Aldrin. Neil is in the reflection on that helmet taking the photo.
There's a story which says one of the things he said when he was up there was, good luck, Mr. Gorski. And it was because when he was a kid, his neighbours were always arguing, the Gorskis. And one day he heard the bloke say, why can't you just, you know, give me a blowjob? Like, why can't you it's just something I want, you know? And she said, you're not having a blowjob until the kid next door... Oh, you know, there's more chance of me if you get a blowjob than the kid next door walking on the moon! That's one of his closest. Good luck, Mr. Gorski. I hope it's true.
I like the fact that he might have worked hard to become an astronaut purely so his neighbour could get sucked off. Neil Armstrong is becoming a more and more sinister man the more I find out about him. Can we have another keyword, please, Mariella?
I don't know. I don't like the way this game's going. I don't like the turn it's taken. There's not been one bloke joke about sex, you know, making fun of yourselves. It's
Yeah, but because they're not
it's all
jokes,
about
they're-
women not
they're
giving you
real.
blowjobs and hand jobs and blah, 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 you know.
We are our own jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, carry on.
It's a much better conspiracy theory if they set it up in the studio just so Gorski could get sucked off there, isn't it?
I think that would be very wrong.
OK, I'll give you a keyword now.
Yes, please.
Yeah, all right.
Yes.
You've got to listen carefully because
Yeah.
it's very short.
OK.
Toe.
Toe. Small, giant toe.
I think you need to have a go, Richard and Jason,
Sorry,
at this
I'm just trying to
thing.
think what I can
So there was a
do
bit after
to
that.
redress the balance for womankind, and I'm just not coming up with anything that I think will be that effective within this quiz.
No, so just carry on as you were then.
Yeah.
It's been happening for centuries.
Yes. To be honest, it was pretty optimistic of us to think that male chauvinism would end during this show.
Yeah. Ambitious.
Yeah, yes.
Given.
So now you've got the third key word. What do you think it is?
A small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. Who's got a big toe? Like, I mean,
That's what you're going with. Who's got a big toe? That's what you think he said
what if you...
next.
Oh, what? Maybe he went, one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. Oh, my fucking toe! Like, maybe...
He might have hurt his
maybe
toe.
hurt his toe.
Good answer.
But probably not.
Can they get even closer?
I'll take a punt.
Go on.
Small step for a man, giant leap for mankind. One toe changes everything.
You're going, ow, my fucking toe.
That's a mic.
One toe changes everything.
Yes.
OK, both plausible. Mariella, can we have the genuine quotation from Neil Armstrong, please?
That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind, and the surface is fine and powdery. I can pick it up loosely with my toe.
The man's wearing great big boots. He's
Yeah.
hardly got a pair of flip-flops
Yeah.
on. How is he feeling the earth? He's thought, oh, I'll risk death just to rub my toes in the dirt for a little while.
And how can you pick up something with a toe?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd need at least two, wouldn't you, to pick it up?
I can't imagine how you could pick up any of the fine and powdery surface with your toe.
With a toe.
With a toe.
So basically...
Let
that
alone with a
bit's wrong.
space boot on.
That bit's wrong. He meant to say a man and he didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was a absolute dickhead, wasn't he? I mean,
There's a lot of argument over whether or not he said the missing A. Earth heard that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Armstrong always insisted he'd said that's one small step for a man, but in 1999 admitted that he could not hear it either in audio recordings of the event, and it was perhaps wiped out by transmission static. This has been both supported and rejected by various audio analysts. So the truth is, we don't quite know what he said, but I agree with you. It's very unclear what he's going on about with his toe.
For years later, people were meeting Neil Armstrong and thinking, oh, he's going to have something really wise to say, and walking away going, it's a bit thick, weren't they? Everything he said, I couldn't make any sense of it.
Yeah. Do you know what astronaut Pete Conrad from Apollo 12 said when he stepped onto the moon?
I'm glad we're on this one and not the next one.
Did he say, all right, Neil?
No, he's quite a short man, that's a clue.
All right, Neil?
Did he say there's a small step for Neil, but for me, with much shorter legs, is actually quite a bit of a bigger step?
You're basically right. Yes, he said, whoopee, man, that may have been a small one for Neil, but that's a long one for me. So that's the end of the round, and a quick look at the scores tells me that Richard and Jason are in the lead. Up next is a round called What Are They Talking About? You're going to hear a quote that's been taken out of context, and what I want to know is what the person is talking about. OK, here's one from Michael Jackson. Can we have the quote, please, Mariella?
They run around and they help me clean the room. They help me dust. They do the windows.
Motorised dusters.
They would do, wouldn't they, motorised dusters? But he didn't have motorised dusters, not even in his pomp.
A lot of women would kill for a motorised duster.
See, when you're talking about the cliché, Mariella, I feel...
Is he talking about the other Jacksons?
Yeah.
Get that dust, Tito! Get that dust, Tito! Latoya, you missed a bit!
Is it the first draft for the lyrics to Thriller?
Staff, my staff.
He's talking about his staff,
The
you think?
staff
Is he
that I
talking
employ.
about, like, monkeys and bubbles and stuff like that? That's where I'm feeling like I'm going, because where the quote is leading us all to is something we don't want to say about a dead man. Makes it sound like there's little children running around his house.
Yes, he
Really
let's be
helped us
honest,
out with that.
He wouldn't be the dead man of whom that is now most said, would he? That title has been lost. That title has been lost to Britain.
OK.
They think monkeys.
Can I just raise one issue about the face? Did he not at any point wake up and look in the mirror and go to the surgeons, are you having a fucking laugh? You've seen what you've done. Why would you go to a surgeon and say, could you make me hideous? Could you make me... I don't know if he did, but just the fact that professional people have gone, yeah, we'll fuck your face up, we'll do it.
Yeah, it's
Why don't we
a
just
damning
make you-
indictment of
Yeah.
the low standards of the cosmetic surgery industry during many decades in the late 20th and early 21st century. Well, you've answered basically monkeys. What's your answer?
I think we should just say working class people.
Working class. Mariella, can we have the full quotation, please?
I come home to my deer or my chimps and I can hug them. They run around and they help me clean the room. They help me dust. They do the windows.
Well done. It's deer and chimps. Continuing the snake theme from earlier, anyone like to guess what Jackson's albino python was called?
Blondie.
Blondie?
Yeah.
That's
Close. Blondo.
No, not blonde. It's not close in terms of noise. It's close in terms of type of name.
OK.
Transvision vamp.
No.
Talking head.
You're in
Singing
the
in the
music
band.
area is good.
Boomtown Rats.
And one word.
White snake.
No.
Madonna.
Yes, Madonna.
Madonna.
There, you have a point.
Why?
Mariella, you have a dog. Does he help you with your housework?
No, creates more housework, I think it would be fair to say. Looks like a mop, but doesn't mop.
I believe your dog is named after a World War II Russian missile. Is that right?
The Katyush.
Yeah.
She's called Katushka. Her son is called Bomb.
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 Did you name that one?
My 7-year-old wanted to go in the park and go, Bomb! And he does.
Let's not try not to walk it in any tube stations. Or...
You clearly don't have a dog. You don't take a dog for a walk in a tube station.
I have got a dog. I have got a dog, but I'm also a comedian and I do jokes.
That's where you and I differ.
Yes, Jackson had chimps cleaning windows, chimps doing the dusting, and Bubbles to help him relax in the bath. So, at the end of the round, Richard and Jason are in the lead. Over the break, see if you can complete this quotation from Mick Jagger. He said this in 1975 during a Rolling Stones tour. I'd rather be dead than what? Tweet your answer to @somethingIsaid, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Was It Something I Said? Before the break, we asked you to complete this quotation from Mick Jagger. I'd rather be dead than what? Any thoughts, panel?
I'd rather be dead than... No, nothing.
No thoughts.
I'd rather be...
Not bad, though. Yeah.
I'd rather be... dead than... Bill Wyman.
I'd rather be dead than Bill Wyman.
Yeah.
I'd rather be dead than hold my arms like this for a minute longer.
Mariella, you've met Mr. Jagger, haven't you? On a number of occasions.
When I met him, they were playing these gigs. It was a long time, about 15, 14 years ago, I can't remember. And I said, oh, you must be exhausted. I can't believe you're even here. You're playing all these gigs and, you know, you must be knackered. And he went, oh, he said, I am. I'm aching all over. And I said, what, from like, you know, the shows? And he went, no, I went to the cricket today. It's murder spectating.
He was exhausted from watching cricket.
He was exhausted from watching cricket, but he can get on stage and run 12 miles a night. That's what they reckon. And what age is he? He's 70 this year, isn't he?
Although Michael McIntyre skips 15 miles. I've seen it.
Any thoughts on what he might have said? I'd rather be dead than...
I think it's something to do with not being able to play rock and roll and perform in front of thousands of people because he would have nothing to live for.
It's quite the opposite. Mariella, can we have the full quotation, please?
I'd rather be dead than sing Satisfaction when I'm 45.
And he's never sung since.
No, he just stopped when he was 45. He sung it when he was 44, 46, 47, 48, 49. Our next round is the Was It Something I Said round, in which each team has to work out who said the following quotations. It'll be from someone on the show tonight or from our virtual guest, Jessie J. Jessie J shaved her head for comic relief, saying, if it saves lives, it's worth it, adding, it's hair, it will grow back. Or, as a similarly charitable Bruce Forsyth said, I'll just buy another one. OK, Richard's team, you're up first. Mariella, can we have our first quotation, please?
I sort of kissed a girl for the first time in a sixth form play. I don't know if it counts because it was artistically justified, but our lips definitely touched.
So, who said that? Was it Mickey, Ramesh, Mariella, me, or Jessie J?
David. Without a shadow.
What do you mean, David without a shadow? Do you think I'm a vampire?
No, you're... You're like Peter Pan. I sort of kissed. I mean, you either kiss it or you don't, do you? I mean, sort of kissed. So that's what makes me think it's someone like David.
Wow. Tentative.
Can I take this
I didn't mean that in a bad way.
Can I take this opportunity as
a captain? Yeah.
One nerd to another to defend David?
Yeah, sure, if you want.
Sort of is good enough. You take that sort of to the bank.
Yeah. You've dreamed of sort of.
Sort of.
For
sort
years.
of was out
And
of...
then
was
sort
beyond
of,
dreams.
sort of happens, and it's a bloody relief.
So I think it's David. What do you think?
Yeah. OK. OK, fine.
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
let's
it
go
is
with
me,
David.
so...
Now we know it's you. You can tell us what sort of kiss means.
Well,
and is.
it was... I kissed a girl on the lips in a play, and I thought, oh, does this mean I actually kissed a girl properly on the lips? Well, no, it doesn't. It was in a story written by someone else. She had to. Can we have the next quote, please?
I'm having a dispute with my neighbour. He hates me. His wife hates me. And I couldn't give a shit.
So, who said that? Was it Mickey, Ramesh, Mariella, me, or Jessie J?
Flanagan. All day long.
It's not going to end up in a book of quotations, that one,
No.
is it?
No. I mean, it's all right for you. I'm his neighbour.
Is that your answer?
I think it's Flanagan, yeah. What do you
OK.
think?
It's Ramesh who said that. Yeah.
You seem so nice.
What's going on there?
Basically, I pulled up in our car park. We've got a little communal car park, and my neighbour said to me, got some light bulbs here that'll fit your car. And I couldn't give a shit about his light bulbs, but I just wanted to end the conversation. I said, how much do you want for the light bulbs? He said, £10. So I thought, £10 to bring this conversation to an end, it's worth it. And then when I went out, came back, and he dropped the light bulbs off because he's desperate to get this transaction closed off. So I didn't think anything of it. I thought I'd give him the £10 when I can. And then 2 days later, I came home. There was a note through my letterbox. It said, I think in order to avoid any animosity, you should return the bulbs.
That is an extremely weird series of events.
Had the lights gone on your car?
No, I just think he really liked me, and he thought, what would that guy like?
So you think it was a flirtation?
I think it was.
Right.
I think
You've really thrown down
I think
the
he
gauntlet.
thought to himself, I fancy a bit of that Asian Rolf Harris. And he got himself some light bulbs and tried to make this deal happen. That's what I think happened.
Next up, it's Mickey's team. Can we have the first quotation, please?
I asked Bette Midler for a picture, and she went proper mental. Her people came over and said, leave Miss Midler alone.
So who said that? Was it Richard, Jason, Mariella, me, or Jessie J?
Proper mental.
I
Who
bet
was
it sounds a
that?
bit like Jason. Proper mental,
Yeah.
she went, ah, proper mental.
Oh, there's two Jasons. So confused.
She kicked whippet right up bollocks, she did.
Were you
She knocked
actually...
me flat cap off, she did.
Were you a scriptwriter for Last of the Summer War? Who do you think said it?
Well, I think Jason, I think. 'cause I
Jason.
can't
You're
see
saying
any of
Jason?
the others, and
No.
maybe Jessie J saying proper mental, but I think Jason.
You think
Yeah,
Jason?
Jason, definitely.
You're right. Well done. We have the next quote, please.
My mother celebrated my sister's birthday on the wrong date for a decade.
No, who said that? Was it Richard, Jason, Mariella, me, or Jessie J?
It's not me, because I wouldn't say mother. I would say me mum. Or, you know
Don't
what I
start
mean?
this now.
Say me mother, me mother,
Me mu-
me mother.
What's that? You had a stroke?
I do.
I've seen the advert. That's sign number one.
I say mother. That's what all Northern people say mother.
It sort of indicates a little bit of cruelty.
Yeah.
Because the mother's not being corrected for a decade.
What family is this?
I know.
It's not necessarily vindictiveness. It could be, you know,
yeah.
the opportunity to correct the mother may never have arisen.
I think this is something Mariella might have said.
All right,
It's
so
her
you
I think
family,
it's
didn't it?
Mariella.
Yeah.
I think we're going for Mariella.
You're right. It was Mariella.
It was me. It was my
And how did that happen?
mother. Single mother, 5 children, details.
How was the mistake discovered?
The birth certificate. Pulled out of a cupboard when we were moving, and oh my
God.
I'm actually 11.
She was a whole year out.
Yeah, well, you would be, wouldn't you?
But did nobody, like, early on when this... Like, when she was going to school and stuff like that, did that not come up? She was just in the wrong year.
It's Ireland, 1970s, what can I tell you?
Wow.
So the day
Worse things were happening.
So 2 days after she was born, your mum thought she was a year and 2 days.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. And a quick look at the scores tells me this week's winners are Richard and Jason. Thank you to Mickey and Ramesh, Richard and Jason, and to our guest narrator, Mariella Froststrap. And we leave you with the words of Barbara Streisand. Success to me is having 10 honeydew melons and eating only the top half of each slice. Well, I say, fuck you, Barbara. Success to me is a diamond-encrusted top hat and a robot butler. Good night.
The toast of London and the toast of the comedy world. It is genuinely hilarious. Write this down. Sunday night, Channel 4, 10:35. Do not miss it. But next up tonight, going into the nation's front room to see what makes them rant in front of the telly. A guilty pleasure, but I don't care who knows. Gogglebox in 2 shakes.